Good morning. Let's have a look. Yesterday, didn't really find anything of interest. That ties in with that and with Portugal's outstanding home record. Always going to be banker material like Japan earlier on in the day, which is good for trading because you can be confident if Poland score first, you've got a really solid angle in. And a 0-0 at half time, eminently gettable, depending on the avenue you choose. 1.25, 3-0, 3-1, any other home score possibilities. Lay the draw if it can get short enough. Poland score first, Portugal score first, draw odds rise. So if the odds were short enough between 46th and 59th minute, you'd have had a bit of an angle there. Spain and Denmark, no strong angle. Scotland, did they take advantage of this red? Or did they score before? Well, very early. Susic, red carded, and McGinn, the Aston Villa player, with an 86-minute winner. Fantastic result for the Scots. A touch of luck, because if you're following the in-play stats, you'd have seen a dominant display by the Croats, particularly the first half. So Scotland got away with that one. Elsewhere, no real trading angles. Couldn't find much of any great interest. Market getting that right. And I'm sounding like Bonnie Tyler every morning. On to today, and the internationals continue, but we do have some little bit of extra for you. Spanish La Liga 2. I think I had a tilt at this one. Let's have a look. No, I didn't have a look at La Liga 2. But we did have a look at the lower tiers in England. La Liga 2, very tradable. Let's have a look. Pick out one of these matches. Why are Racing Santander favourite? It's at this stage of the season that soccerstats.com becomes very useful with 10 plus matches played. So let's pick out that 1.55 Racing Santander. How would I approach this match? Well, this is the old school method, head-to-heads via soccerstats.com. 10 plus matches played means we're going to start seeing some statistical patterns. Well, Racing Santander, no wonder they're odds on favourite, having a superb season, as you can quite clearly see. Scored in every single match, and coming off the back of 6 defeats in 7 for Burgos, this is perhaps not the right time to be meeting Racing Santander. Note, Burgos have failed to score in 3 of the last 4 away, so they do score first. They do look vulnerable, but they failed to score in 5 of the last 7. So, banker material for Racing, it seems. Scored in the last 14, as you know. Challenge table will just show you where they are in the league. Top of the league against 17th. And look at all that cluster of wins against 15th to 21st. Note, away from home. They've got home advantage today. So I would expect something akin to this 2-0, 0-1, 1-2. That kind of a scoreline today in Racing's favour. You'll note that Burgos concede 2 goals regularly as well. So it all fits in to a nicely readable match. And readable matches are tradable matches. It's no coincidence that most readable matches will be odds on favourites, of course. A strong end to the first half for Racing. If they're in trouble, watch out, 61st to 70th to 90th minute. 6 goals in total. They do concede heavily, though, away from home. Note also Burgos tend to do their scoring away in the 75th to 90th minute. So that is a definite avenue for goals. 75th to 90th, particularly if they're needed. So there's any late lay the draw, that could be an angle. And we look at Burgos, we already know they're in poor form, failing to score, etc. And you can quite clearly see in playing top today, they've lost 3-1 to 4th, conceded 2 goals with home advantage against 2nd, and 2 goals with home advantage against 5th. So he's suggesting could be vulnerable to at least 2 goals today. So it's a good opportunity for overs, but you'd be trusting, I think, one side above the other. Any 0-0s at half time don't tend to follow up by full time. 2 0-0s at half time. So you can see just by doing that soccer stats, look, and if you're very lazy, boom, head straight to the challenge table and it'll give you a good idea of expectations. So we got a good angle in with that one. So we choose another at random. Castellon against Mirandes. Let's try that one out. This is the best way to research because you've got all the stats that fit in with the Betfair markets at soccerstats.com. So Castellon against Mirandes. Up we go. Do a walkthrough of this like we did in the previous match. You can see two sides lacking a strong form line. It's win, it's loss, win, loss, win. They just can't get a consistent run together. Castellon, loss, loss, win, win, loss. Conceding 2 goals regularly as well. 1, 2, 3, 4 of the last 6 matches have conceded at least 2 goals. Strong over 2.5 goal bias for Castellon as well. Not mirrored unless it's very recent by Mirandes. 3 in the last 4 have been overs, but a strong unders performance prior to that. So interesting. A sudden switch to over 2.5 goals for Mirandes with a Castellon with 6 overs in the last 7. Working our way down, you can have a look at the first goal leading and trailing, but I don't tend to use that. Challenge table again, 9th against 6th. You can see struggles for Castellon against the top 5. Is that going to extend to 6th today? You see 6th against the top 8. Failing to score that second goal. So they could be blunt. You can see that pattern continuing home and away against the top 13. Where's that second goal? So potential vulnerability for Mirandes as far as scoring that second goal is concerned. They haven't done it away from home yet. They've conceded 2 goals against 4th, playing 9th today. Most of their action or winning action occurs home. So they don't look good travellers. Got a bit of a gap here in form, but they do struggle. Well, they do score 2 goals, Castellon, against 5th and 7th. So we might see some newfound momentum. Don't forget with matches, you can always come to the conclusions that you don't come to any conclusions. And you can leave that one alone. Vulnerable second half, the home side, Castellon conceding. And any 0-0s at half time, got the potential to be vulnerable second half. Good conversion rate. So for this particular match, I don't have an ultra strong opinion. What we do note, the start of over 2.5 goals for Mirandes, particularly away from home, and overs for Castellon. Castellon potentially vulnerable. You can see them conceding 2 goals, but they have scored 2 goals in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the last 7. That for me just slightly gives Castellon the nod today. So you could do that with as many of these as you'd like. It just makes looking at the matches a lot easier, doesn't it? Get a lot more detailed angle in. Elsewhere, well, we've got the UEFA Nations League. You've seen already the difficulty with international trading. It's a trust issue, really. You saw France fail to score against Israel the other day. Germany against Bosnia, well, obvious 1.11, 1.36. Obvious is good for trading, so those would get an eye in. Georgia against Ukraine, the water's a little muddy, didn't it? 2.63, 2.4. Again, can't split these two, and doesn't make any appeal as a trading vehicle, does it? These 4 obscure international sides with very little to impress. Turkey against Wales. Those odds, got to be a bit careful with Turkey. They do have goals in them. They have put together some really good results. 4 goals against Iceland. 3 again against Iceland. Netherlands beat them. 2 against Austria. 2 against the Czech Republic. Conceded 3. Scored 3 against Georgia. So they're looking positive. Wales, I think, notable. They're scoring 2 goals against the likes of Montenegro and Iceland. They're not all that, are they? 0-0 last head-to-head in September. So just be on the watch out for a potential 0-0. Make sure if you do take that 0-0 on, take it on as late as possible. Again, if we go down the leagues, we get into even worse territory, Andover, Moldova. The Swedes odds on against Slovakia, Azerbaijan should have far too much for Estonia. And where we don't have soccer stats for internationals, what we do have is the FIFA World Rankings. That's the only real way to get a pre-match gauge. So let's have a look at one of the matches where the market couldn't split the team, and that might tell you why. So let's have a look. FIFA rankings. Here they are. We're looking at the men's rankings, and we're looking at UEFA. So you work your way down. Let's pick an obscure. Let's choose this one here, I think. Montenegro, Iceland. We want to know if we have a gauge. How are they against each other? Let's have a look. Montenegro against Iceland. 75th. And Iceland 70th. So the rankings are very tight. You add that to the fact that it's 2.4 the favourite, and no wonder the market can't pick a winner here. Elsewhere, we've got the Scottish Championship today, which might offer a bit more liquidity than usual. It's not a strong competition. Betfair, as I say, you can't really trade League One, League Two in Scotland. It's lacking liquidity. We've got every single team odds-on favourite today. Have a quick look at the standings in the Championship. I don't tend to trade it because of the liquidity problems. Falkirk are dominating early season. The problem sides are Adrionians, Dunfermline, Morton at the moment. So those could be ones to oppose. Falkirk, Livingston riding high. Partick Thistle with a win today could take them in to the top four. So looking at motivation even this early in the season, and looking at the bottom sides, Morton look eminently gettable, don't they? And Dunfermline and Adrionians, and they're playing each other. So this is your archetypal relegation six-pointer, isn't it? So you'd be looking to lay that late draw here. These sides desperately need points. So that's it for today. I don't like trading internationals. I'm going to be honest with you. I've already shown you the struggles with it. With 1-0 wins, very tight matches. It's just not a competition I like. International football. I excel at league football, as you can see with Castillon, Mirandes. We're not going to get this kind of an insight with international football at all. I will be on hand from the 2 o'clocks, but I'm probably not going to be up for the 1945s, I'm afraid. But I will be around for the 3 o'clocks as well in English League One and English League Two. They do help us out today, but we are missing the Championship because we're on an international break. Likely to have some Championship players in international sides somewhere around the world. So English League One, Exeter against Lincoln, 2.6 the favourite. Hopefully you're learning. That suggests it's a match to perhaps leave alone. Over 2.5 goals, yes. From a neutral perspective, both teams to score, yes. So we've got overs for the Exeter match. Blackpool, you've automatically got a look. We've got a home side between the odds of 1.5 and 1.7. Tend to perform very strongly indeed. Prediction 2-1. Key stats. Blackpool have won just 2 of their 7 home games in League One, yet they're odds on favourite today. Redemption style match, this one perhaps. Bristol Rovers against Crawley. Match prediction, well gone for Bristol Rovers win. They've won the last 3 home games when Jamie Lindley has scored. Crawley scored at least one first half goal in 80% of League One games this season. So if it's 0-0 after 15 minutes, you might want to back over 2.5 goals. Look for that goal before half time between the 15th and 45th minute for a guaranteed profit. Cashing out. Cambridge against Barnsley. Odds on favourite Barnsley. Barnsley, they're on a 4-match unbeaten streak with 3 wins and a draw. Being prolific in attack as well. So they look favoured today. 1.91 away side. In good form. Cambridge, heavy defeat against Peterborough recently. Poor home form as well. So this for me looks good for Barnsley away from home. Stockport and Wrexham 2.37. Already you're on the back foot there. Probably not a match to get too fixated upon. 7 of the last 10 games between Stockport and Wrexham have seen at least 2 goals in the first half. So if that pattern continues and it's 0-0 after 15 minutes, you might want to back over 2.5 goals or lay the 0-0 in the half-time score market. English League 2, Accrington against Swindon 2.37. Another tough match suggested. Accrington won 2-1 last encounter. They've scored in both halves in the last 3 aways, Swindon, Accrington. But these are not teams that, you've not got Kylian Mbappe up front, for example, get you out of the doo-doo if you've conceded a goal. That's the problem. 2.7 the favourite here. Again, another tough nut to crack on paper. I gone for overs there. Bromley against Carlisle, 2.05. Match prediction. Both teams are struggling. So again, trust issues, isn't it? Michael Cheek scored 71% of Bromley's League 2 games this season. Carlisle have won just one of the last 5 League 2. They've won just one of the last 5 League 2 away as well. Bromley have failed to keep a clean sheet in each of the last 8. So awful couple of sides. And again, it doesn't get any easier. You look at 2.5 the favourite. You look at the League 2, and you think to yourself, no thanks. Simple as that. But in-play stats could reveal a trade or two. 4 of Bradford's last away games have featured fewer than 3. 50% of Bradford's away. A goal has been scored in the first half in 80% of Bradford's matches this season. So again, got that first half goal angle, which is an over 2.5 goal angle as well. You don't need overs to come in to profit from a first half goal. Just need it to be scored at the right time. Notts County games frequently see early goals as well. So it could be a neutral avenue today in these matches. Looking at overs. Doncaster against Salford. Salford in play stats last week did impress me, or the last time they played. So let's just find that match. I've just lost it. There it is. So again, I don't like playing League 1, League 2, but we're under duress here because it's the international break. Fewer than 3 goals have been scored in each of Doncaster's last 4 home games. So you'll not be looking at overs here. Harrogate, Chesterfield odds on away from home against Harrogate. 4 of the last 7 away have been won by Chesterfield. Plenty of goals as well. At least 3 goals scored in each of the last 4. So again, neutral might be the way today. It could be a good league for 2.5 goals, etc. MK Dons against Cheltenham. MK Dons coming off the back of a 3-1 home win against Swindon. Cheltenham, recent 1-1 against Bromley. Odd number of goals. Oddly, that's a good indicator for over 2.5 goals, isn't it? 1-1. No, odd. So 1-0 would not be, but that would be the only killer one, really, wouldn't it? 3-0, 1-3, 2-1, that kind of thing. Odd number of goals could produce overs apart from the 1-0. Morecambe and Port Vale. Port Vale favourite. We've got a lot of odds on favourites away in English League 1 and League 2 today, don't we? High probability of overs. At least 3 goals in each of the last 4 games for Morecambe. So again, it looks like the neutral overs market's the best way to attack these matches. No live stream today and less coverage than I would normally do on a busy day. I just don't like internationals. I don't want to be forced into having to trade just because you got an itch to scratch. We'll just bide our time. You saw the first time the internationals came, I picked out 2. Armenia, and this is what we're talking about. Really solid, absolutely dominated this match from start to finish, failed to score. Dominated this match as well, just managed to win. We laid the draw there, got an insurance return there. That's what I'm after, that kind of tightness. If we don't win, at least break even. So we'll see you from about 3 o'clock. There's no live stream today. There's nothing really to talk about. We've just got 1 or 2 matches from League 1 and League 2, which are lacking liquidity. So that's the main trading issue, as well as the quality of the teams. Have a great day.
and I'll see members from about 3 o'clock onwards.